Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. I have on someone tonight who's pretty freaking cool. She is a drag king who adopted her son with her wife. Just kidding, not her wife. She can't get married because she's on disability. America's amazing. America's amazing. AKA Makon Mayhem, mom of one, incredible person, Lauren Carroll. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
No, I had like big plans tonight, so you're really disrupting what I was doing.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. I'm super excited that you're here. We were actually just chatting, so we know each other like through theater. We have a bunch of mutual friends, and we were like joking about a dance call that we were at together where you and I were like, well, we're singers and we're old singers. So I appreciate a girl who can be like, it's not for me.
No.
You know what you're good at. So
yeah.
Bravo. We're gonna get into the Big Mom 3, but I'm gonna preface this episode with this. Your story probably is the craziest story I've had on the show so far. And I've had some pretty crazy stories on here. Yours is, I don't even know. So I'm gonna do a lot of shutting up today, if I can. But before I shut up, we will do the Big Mom 3. So first question of the Big Mom 3. Did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Always. And people seem so surprised by that.
Why?
I don't really fit the bill, I feel, for what a mom should look like.
I know nothing about that.
Exactly. I know. It happens to you, I'm sure, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So when I'm like, oh yeah, I always wanted to be a mom, they go, really? Wasn't like you didn't. No, yeah, I've always wanted to be a mom. I'm one of 7 kids, so I grew up with a soccer team around me. So it just seemed like it's something. That's how I understood love. I just wanted to love and be able to raise a kid, and
That's super cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is really cool. And I know how old your son is, but for everybody out there, how old is your son now?
He's 12. Yeah. So he's hitting the beginning of puberty.
How fun for him. I hope he watches this and he's like, Mom, don't say puberty.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, no, he's fine with it.
And he won't watch this anyway.
No, he has no interest. He has no interest in anything that I do, actually.
Which is insane.
Really, I think he's like, yeah, and I don't like that.
Okay. No. Which, like, you're a cool person. So, like, it's which makes me feel very sad, because I think aesthetically speaking, you're probably in all aspects, you're a much cooler person than I am, which means I have no shot of my kid thinking I'm cool. Like, if your 12-year-old is like, I'm rolling my eyes at my mom with green hair and tattoos who's a musician, I have no fucking leg to stand on. Like, it's gonna be rough, and I deserve it, but it is gonna be rough.
There were times where you're like, wow, I thought I was like trying my best. I thought I was a rock star. And he's like, no, you're wrong.
No, you're not a rock star, and right. Only in your mind.
Exactly.
Big Mom question number 2. What is the shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
I don't know that it's advice.
That's okay. Story time.
This one always gets me. Don't you wish you could, your son's great, but don't you wish you could have one of your own? I've literally heard that.
Like a girl?
Yeah. No, of your own, meaning like having birthed my own child. And I go,
I hate that.
Can you believe, and it's happened more than once where I'm like, this is hush time now. No. Hush.
So my webcam is really fucking me up today, but I am beat red right now.
That one's one of them. Like, who says that? Because you don't know somebody's circumstances, and who says that? And the other one was, where did you get a white baby boy? And first of all, he's not. He's not white. But he's pale skin, and I guess but somebody had said that to him. I'm not even joking. My jaw hit the floor, and I was like, and I had to be escorted out because I was about to say things that probably weren't appropriate as a mom to say to this person.
I would have been like, Russia, bye, and walked out. So that's awful. So
isn't it though?
Yeah. So because you guys adopted. So on our end, we my wife Carrie, Katie carried, yes. And we've had family members say something to the effect of, but don't you think it would be more fair if you adopted?
Everybody's journey is different. Hush now.
Like, it doesn't make you any less of a parent if you are responsible for not killing a baby, right? Like, your whole job in life is to keep this little person alive and raise them
and thriving. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're a mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a mom. That's
wow.
That's awful. I'm not going to sleep tonight. Maybe I'll sleep better. I don't know. Maybe I'll sleep better knowing I'm not the only one, but I don't think I'm going to.
But you hear things like that and you're absolutely just stymied going, who raised you?
No one good. I thought you meant, would you want to have a girl? Like, I didn't know what the hell. That's horrible.
No, yeah.
Whew, okay. Wow. Yeah. Deep breath, Jess. Calm down. Big mom question number 3. What is a skill or superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
Patience. I have developed patience.
Okay.
I had never had it to the extent and capacity that I now have it. And especially my son's spectrum. Mm-hmm. So I have it even more than I thought I would, in just raising a child, because if you would like to leave the house, it's not just, okay, put your shoes on, we're going to leave the house. It's put your shoes on, we're going to leave the house. Maybe in the next 20 minutes. You don't know. So you have to find your expectations now change. And I learned to go with the flow a lot more than I used to. I used to not be quick tempered, but very like, okay, well, let's go. Here we have places to go. People to see. Let's go. Here we go. When you're a parent, as you know, that's kind of like, oh, she's sleeping, or this is what we're doing now for the next hour. Okay. It's
right. Oh, you're laying on the floor?
Okay. This is what we're doing.
Sure. Oh, you want to bite on that coaster?
This is where we are.
The next 10 hours? No problem.
Yeah. So I think patience. I think patience.
Good one. Well, listen, I did preface this episode by saying I'm not going to be doing a whole hell lot of talking because I cannot do your story justice. And like I shared with you, we were chatting a little bit earlier, and like, we have a mutual friend who has been on the show. I feel like she gets too many shout outs. Don't you think Katie Casson gets too many shout outs?
I mean, they're kind of deserved.
She's sort of the best. She's sort of the best.
She is amazing. She really is. She's been in several of my shows. I really appreciate her so much.
She's one of my favorite humans on the
planet. Her and her mom, like, come on.
Her mom is Dawn Hoffman, who's been on the show, who is I'm just so scared.
Incredible.
Oh my God, they're the most amazing people. But so when I told,
and her mom's birthday is the same date as mine. We share a birth date.
That's why you're both so scary. It's incredible. So like I said, we have this mutual friend, and like, we know each other sort of on the, periphery. When I told Katie you were coming on, she was like, holy shit. She was like, don't ask any questions about it. She's like, here's what the story is. She's like, just let Lauren tell it from beginning to end. That's literally what I want you to do, because you've had all kinds, from adopting to your own health complications to child on spectrum. Like, you've sort of run the gambit of like, it's a different experience. So go to town, please talk about
Starting it. From where would you like me to start?
Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. No, you adopted a child in 15 days. So I think that's, we can't leave that out. So however that goes from there, let's talk about that.
This is what happened. I had a friend who worked at Blockbuster Video at the time, if y'all remember, late fees.
I did work at Blockbuster for one day.
You did?
Yes, and I had a very creepy boy that kept offering to split a candy bar with me that had peanuts in it, and I kept telling him, oh, no, like, I'm allergic, and it just, it wasn't my scene, but yes, Blockbuster, praise
up. Blockbuster Video. I had a friend whose boyfriend worked at Blockbuster Video. And she said, I have a crazy story to tell you. My boyfriend had to cover this girl's shift last night because her girlfriend gave birth.
Okay.
That's the beginning of the story. If you can follow.
The
girl who worked at Blockbuster Video's girlfriend gave birth. Didn't know she was pregnant.
At all?
No idea. Goes to the emergency room. They take an x-ray of her stomach, which is good to do. And they're like, well, you're in labor. So she then gives birth to a baby. 2 weeks go past and my friend says, you know, this baby is still like available and nobody has like gone for the bite yet. I was like, and I turned to my partner at the time. I was like, I would like the baby. Get out the phone book. And she looked at me like, you're crazy, right? Like, you're not really thinking that. And I went, no, this is meant to be. There's money in the account. We can do this. And I called an attorney whose name was Aaron Britman, AB, literally the first name in the phone book that I could find for adoption lawyers. And I called him. I was like, what do we need to do? I got a home study. And 15 days later, he was in my arms. And when they opened the elevator doors, he was mine. He was only 8 pounds. He was a little nothing. He was a little nugget. I call him Peanut to this day because everyone calls me Goober. So I call him Peanut. He's my little peanut, even though he's like my height now. Yeah. And in 15 days, everything went through. Everything, it was serendipitous. The money for everything had just gone into, it couldn't have been timed perfect, like better. Yeah. Like the lawyer, the fees for everything. And then he was 15 days later, the home study, they were available. We got diapers, everything. We were literally rushing around being like, what do we need to have a child come into the house? Like, how do we make it look like we can do this? And we had a little apartment outside of Bayway at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then, yeah.
So like whenever, so I do shows there and Christy would work lights and we were like, what do we need? A bassinet, a crib. How do we, and in 15 days, our friends were just like, here, take all of this stuff. And her parents were actually in Italy at the time.
Oh my God.
And we couldn't even get in touch with them. So for 2 weeks, they came home like on a Monday and we were like, hey, by the way, on Friday, you're going to be grandparents. Haha. Like,
funny story.
Guess what? Yeah. And everyone's like, you were lying. You knew for months. No, it just literally fell into our laps and I could not have been more happy. Like, yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. 15
And days. I know, so I mean, since the adoption, I know there's been a lot that's gone on. So your story again does not fit the like, let's raise a suburban baby, let's live this super cute life. Like that's not reality for you guys.
It's not.
What is reality for you?
Reality. I was born with a bad immune system. For people who don't understand, if you've ever seen the horrible John Travolta movie, The Boy in the Bubble, I was born with that. Yeah, I was born with that. So actually this whole quarantine thing, I'm like, yeah, I've been through quarantine. I get it. Like I've been in it twice, like proper quarantining. So that's daily life for us right now. And my son is Spectrum. So that's been fun, homeschooling him. It's probably advisable. It's good for, I don't judge people who want to send their kids to school right now during COVID. I just can't do it. I think the decision for anybody right now regarding school is a hard one to make. Sure. Whether it's homeschooling or sending your kid to school or distance learning, whatever it is. I know that I cry every morning because I have to do math and it was never good to begin with at it. He's fine. He understands it. I'm the one who's like Googling things and going, yeah, I think that's right. Could be. But yeah, I tend to just get sick more often than the regular person does. I do nightly infusions of a medication, ironically plasma, and there's a shortage of that currently. So that's fun. But yeah.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. There was a shortage last year. I was like, yeah, people, could you please donate plasma? And then this whole thing hit and I was like, oh, well, could you please donate more? Yeah.
Donate to everybody. Just donate as much plasma
just donate, as you have. Just keep donating. Yeah.
Wow. That's nuts. And so your son is Spectrum. So
yes.
Kind of walk me through that. At what age did you start realizing perhaps this was his path?
Very early on. And the first intervention that we got for him, like to try to get him a diagnosis, they didn't see a problem, but we did. So, we sat down and we were like, but he keeps on doing these certain things that are very specific. He would walk, he would look at fans in a circle and just keep on going. But if it went in the opposite direction, he would cry. So it's a specific thing.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, that's weird. When we changed the direction, he would get upset. If we had a toy that would roll, he would flip it upside down and just spin the wheels. He never wanted
to your mom intuition. You mean
exactly. And then when he started to walk, he was walking on his tippy toes and he wouldn't speak. For years he didn't speak. And then he was echolalic, so he would just repeat things, but specifically from movies, which was tons of fun. Specifically from Up and Finding Nemo. So like if I did something and he didn't like it, he'd be like, I don't like that, Dad. And I'd be like, I'm not Dad, but you're quoting Finding Nemo, so I get it. Okay.
But that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, and then at that point, when he was about age 3 to 4, we got a diagnosis and he went to Arthur C. Prim School. And he had a lot of therapies. And today he's exceptionally well adjusted as far as being on the spectrum. He's really, really bright. Like I did have to ask him how to get the captions off the television earlier. I've become that parent, you know what I mean? When like you speak to like your parents and you're like, you'll figure it out. That I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm like, Jude, if you could just please figure this out for me. I have no clue what I'm doing. And he's really, with computers, there's no hope for me.
No.
He set up a meeting. Who are you kidding? He's like, hit the button, go to the, yeah, he's on top of it. And he's very sweet. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, yeah, it's just well, yeah, a 15-day adoption is not the norm. And was it just a complete shock once you actually had him home? Were you just like, well, now what? Which I think any parent has anyway, right? But you have a little bit more prep time.
But there's usually a little more prep time.
Yeah, about 9 months.
Yeah, about 9 months. And let's just say, and even in an adoption, there's usually more than 15 days. I was like, there's not even like an abridged version of what to expect when you're expecting.
No.
Like that we could try to go through really quick. There are things that just come up that you're like, I don't know. And you should know this too. We wing a lot of this. We bullshit our way through a whole bunch of this and make it look like we know what we're doing. Like we just go, we're probably doing this right. So
yeah, they're like happy.
Exactly. Right? He's not crying as far as, feeding him and stuff. I was like, I have no idea. He was in foster care and the woman who was fostering him thankfully wrote up a sheet of like, this is what he likes. This is what he doesn't like. And I was just staring at that thing for months going, I think I've got it. I think we fed him. Is he crying? I don't know. I was like, is it supposed to make that noise? Is that supposed to happen? What do we do? I don't know what to do because there's no handbook. And in 15 days, literally when I got him in the car, I sat in the back seat with him. I had Christy drive and I was like, they gave us a baby. I felt like I committed a crime, like drive. I felt like I did something. I was like, they're going to hunt us down. They're going to be like, give me the kid and I'm going to get patted down. But it felt so weird to just be like, here, sign this, you get a kid. It felt so when people were like, it's difficult to adopt, it's this and that. For us, that wasn't the case. We weren't struggling for a long time. It was 15 days and everybody has a different story, but mine just happened to have been, this is how it goes. But there's no time to prepare really in 15 days. So we were like calling people on the way home going, this is the type of formula that they just gave us in the bag. Can you please run out and get it by the time we get home?
Yeah. And do you know anything about it? I don't know.
I know. I was like, do you heat it up? What do you do? I don't know. What do we do? You want a funny story? I don't know if this is oversharing, but it's really funny.
Do it. Go to town. Overshare. So
because I'm such as you can tell, a feminine, delicate flower. What had happened when
and we're two, and I think that's important to stop for a second to call out. We are two very different types of lesbians. It's not talked about enough. I am a chapstick lesbian.
Yes.
Right. I'm even wearing a shirt for you. It says, "Does this shirt make me look gay?" Because I thought you'd appreciate it. But you're a different breed. You're a different type.
Different breed. Here's the thing. I am like, for being as lesbian as I appear, like as psyche as I appear, I'm the word I was looking for.
You're gay. You are a gay man.
I'm a gay man. I'm very flamboyant, and people have said I remind them of Albert from The Birdcage. Like my friends have given me things that say, don't pierce the toe. Like it's.
That's really
because I gasp and I clutch the pearls, and that's who I am. I gesticulate a lot. I don't know if you've noticed. And yes, right. We're two different breeds of lesbian. Yes. It's a little more apparent on me. I don't know if it's the haircut, but yeah, it
doesn't help. Yeah, I think it helps in this side by side comparison, sure. But I think you see me wearing a flannel and they're like, oh, she gay.
See, but I don't wear flannels. Go figure.
Right. No, you always like put yourself together real nice. And I'm like, I got my flannels, I got a beanie. And if I'm like feeling lazy, I'm like, and here's my glasses, good enough. And here's my ponytail.
Yeah.
Different breed.
I don't know. I like to look. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what brand I would be. Maybe dipstick. I'm not that intelligent. Maybe a dipstick lesbian.
Dipstick lesbian. I like it. Maybe that's a new, let's call you a dipstick lesbian.
Right?
That
works for me.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I've interrupted your story. Please,
that's okay. Don't worry. Share. I'm having fun. So where it doesn't seem like I'm a delicate flower, when about 2 months into adopting him, he was crying daily to the point where he sounded like the babe. Like when he cried to the point of being hoarse one time, and he sounded like E.T. when he's found in the shrubbery, like that. He sounded like that. And he kept on crying. And one day I was doing a self-breast exam. And it turns out that you can lactate if your hormones. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, you are welcome. So my new party trick was literally going, oh, sweet God, oh, how do I stop that? How do I shut that off? And I go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, that's so beautiful. You've bonded. I'm like, but if you could shut off the faucet system that has happened, they're like, oh, and my doctor's like crying for me. I'm like, no. If there is a pill where you could get the system to shut off, because I didn't understand how that whole thing works. I was like, I didn't even know that was the way that the thing worked. In my head, it was like a bottle. I didn't know it was a sprinkler system. Nobody told me.
That shit goes everywhere.
Nobody told.
Everywhere.
No, nobody.
It's funny as hell.
I thought about like a baby bottle, like the little thing at the top. No. Sprinkler system.
Yeah.
That's unfair. That happened to me, and Christy's like testosterone went up. So it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. I swear.
That's so odd. And now you have me thinking, because like Katie breastfed, I'm like, what if I tried it? I mean, now we're a year into it. I'd imagine.
Probably not now, but yeah, that's the thing that happened. My body was like, oh, you have a baby here.
Look, mommy, here's your boobs.
Yeah. And trust me, every time I go out, my friends are like, remember that time no, we're good. Thank you.
They're like, hey, can you still do that cool? No, I can't.
No. We medically got that shut down. We took medication so that would stop.
Oh, I did not think that's where that was going.
You're welcome.
That's terrific. And also, so let me bring it back to your kid in the foster system. Here, how's this for a segue? My own, like, I must be a very naive person, because in my mind, when you're like, she had the baby, and then we did a home visit, and then 15 days later, I'm like, Lou, this baby was hanging out in the hospital, hanging out with other babies. Like, no, he went into the foster system before you adopted him.
He went into the foster system. She gave birth to him in March, and we got him in May. So he was in the foster system for about a month.
Okay.
And a bit. So by the time we brought him home, he had some things he had to overcome.
Okay.
Because she didn't exactly take care of herself properly, because she did not know, once again, she was pregnant. So when he was ready to go, she wasn't able to parent, so he went into the foster system and stayed there, but nobody was ready to take him.
Just like medically he needed
a little bit more, and we were willing to take that on. So I think that I think that that's part of it too, is like when people are like, oh, it's we also didn't go into it going, we want a white, completely healthy, but like we didn't we were like, no, this little guy's ours, you know, whatever happens, happens, you know, he's on spectrum, but he's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like that I can't handle with him, you know, maybe his sass, he's getting sassy, but other than that, you know, I can handle it. He's good.
He's 12. 12-year-olds are
if when I was 12, I was a nightmare. So, and it hasn't ended. So there's that.
That's what, you know, and I'm always like, you're right. Like I started becoming just sort of like a nasty bitch around 12, and it hasn't ended really.
No, it hasn't.
I'm a kind person, a very kind person.
I am too. But that's when the
cut you down. Right. Yeah, I'll cut you down real bad.
Oh, and now that you're a mom though, like, do you feel that like mama bear thing kick in? Like, is that like like where you just.
The things that have come out of my mouth in the last, and I will say 11 months because she is not a year yet, although I think by the time this airs, she might be a year. But at the moment that we're filming, she's not a year yet. She's 11 months. The shit that has come out of my mouth in the last year about if anybody does this, I think I told this story on here once, but it's my show, so I'm going to tell it again. When she was very, very tiny, we had some people over visiting, and it was like right around Halloween. So her birthday is October 25th, and it was on Halloween. She was wearing this, like, we dressed her up as Max from Where the Wild Things Are, and then later on, which was so cute. Oh, I feel her. Later on in the day, we like changed her into this little like Halloween tutu. I was hysterical crying, and I'm not really a big crier. Like, people don't think you're a fragile flower. Like, I am not a fragile flower. Like, I was hysterical thinking about what if somebody bullied her in a ballet class.
Aww.
What? Like, what ballet class? And I'm going, I'll fucking kill them. And crying, and Katie's going, who are you gonna kill? What are you talking about? But like the amount of times this year that I've been like, I'll fucking kill them. Like, if they even look at her. I also, and I, you know what, this is a good question for you, because I'm being on the spectrum, having two moms, I'm sure there have been incidences where perhaps children aren't kind. Parents aren't kind. So I know for me, and I asked my friend Kelly Mitchell when she was on the show too, who's just a very like Zen person. How do you deal with bullying? Because in my world, I'll slap a child, like, and I know that's not the right thing to do. So
no, I've wondered if I could kick a 10-year-old's ass. Like, I thought about it, and then I'm like, no, you can't. He's been when he's on the playground. I don't know if this is going to be the same climate by the time your beautiful one's of age, but when he was on the playground one time, this kid was like, where's your dad? Where's your dad? And he was like, I don't have one. And you know, it's not from the kids necessarily, it's from the parents. But that's the problem.
Oh yeah.
I want to raise my son to understand. The other day I said something and he goes, you know, you misgendered that character. I was like, oh, that's me telling him something, and it's coming back, and he understands it. He understands things that, you know, should just be understood as you're growing up. That shouldn't be a thing. And I remember him answering the kid back with, well, I have two moms and they love me. So, and I was like, oh, he just went off. So he's very good with that, and he understands that. But as far as bullies go, it's difficult to when because he's on the spectrum, he tends to want to power down and then I want to beef up, you know, so he handles it way differently than I would. He's a lot more calm and more like, no, mom, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Meanwhile, I'm like, no, they can't do that.
Kill them.
Yeah, I know. It's bad.
It's bad. Yeah. That's tough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, because you are a drag king. You are the first drag king I've had on my show. I don't know too many drag kings. You're probably the only one I'll have on my show until you're like, here's another cool drag king mom. So a few questions. First of all, how did you get into it? I know drag queen culture, right? But this drag king culture is sort of like, it's different. It's a different world. So I'd love to know just like how you got into it, what it means to you, and like what you're doing with it.
I got into it in an odd way. So I've done theater for years. Yeah. Whether it's on the stage or usually in pits. So I'm usually a musician in pits. So I think that's how we met, actually. And and I was playing a show at East Line Theater, and everybody in the pit was male. except for me. And they were all wearing fabulous makeup. And I was like, I'm kind of sticking out really hardcore here. So one night, as a joke, I drew a mustache on and sat in the corner. And somebody in the cast said, "Oh, do you do drag?" And I went, "No, I don't do drag." "Why?" And they went, "Oh, I just assumed that maybe you would do drag." And I went, "No, I don't do that." And then they said, "Well, a friend of mine is doing a show and they need a drag king. Would you be down to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? What do I have to do?" "Oh, dance and lip sync." I'm like, I got that. Yeah. So I went and I did it and I really liked it. And the pay didn't hurt. So
sure.
I went for it and I had a lot of fun with it. And I do drag a little differently. I do live singing in drag, and that's not something that you hear of that often to begin with. And I got to perform at Club Coming. I had a lot of fun with that. And I get to meet Alan, which is crazy. And I've had a lot of, it's really cool. And, I've had a lot of amazing opportunities because of a drag career that I never even thought I was going to have in the first place.
That's so cool. So I want to play a little game, and it might go south because of my lack of education, but let's try it, right? Okay. So, and it's like this, probably the simplest question on the planet, but 3 favorite drag kings and 3 favorite drag queens. Do you have them?
3 favorite drag kings and queens. That aren't like New York local.
Or I don't give a shit. I don't know anything about it anyway. You could be like, "Oh, I like, Badula Amblagata," and I'd be like, "It sounds great." Like, I have no fucking clue. Whoever, whoever's good.
I have to work with these people. I like I like all of the New York queens. There are some that stick out more than others. Like famous queens, I don't know.
Here,
I like Landon Cider as a drag king.
Cider? Okay.
He's phenomenal. He's a very his makeup. You have to check him out. His makeup's really good.
I'm trying to educate myself. How about this? I'm going to rephrase. I'm changing my game.
Good.
Is there somebody that you've worked with in New York over the last couple of years that you could see really, really making it as a drag king or queen? Like that you're just this person's next. Like this is the next, I don't know, RuPaul, whoever. Like this is the next person.
I really like the Lady LaBelle. She has always been one of my favorite people to work with. And I've worked with her in drag and out of drag. She's always been, whenever I do Rocky Horror, she's my Frankenfurter.
Me too. Well, her and Mark Cahill, but
yes. And I just love her. I think she's got a unique. First of all, she's a phenomenal dancer.
She's stunning.
When she plays Frankenfurter, she has costume changes that make the Oscars jealous. That's true. I don't understand. When I say to the costumer, "Don't worry about that. They're covered. Like they have the wigs, everything's good to go." She just knows what she's doing. She's on the top of her game. You could throw something at her at 5:00 for 5:06, and she's like, "I got it. I'm ready to go." She's amazing. She's just ready all the time, and she's a consummate performer, exceptionally professional. And I like to work with people like that.
I can't believe I didn't think of her. I'm always I don't know any drag queens. Of course I do. And I've worked with her for, since I'm a kid,
Yeah, exactly. I knew her, before she did drag, and then she got into drag, and I was like, wow, this is such a strange, tiny little circle that we wound up in.
It's so strange. That's a great answer. And I'm going to tag them because they're going to be excited. Yeah. Shout out to you, my friend. Such a sweet, beautiful person. That's very, very cool that they came up. Okay, I'm gonna start to wrap us up. This was a lot of fun. It's so nice to see you, because we can't see each other anywhere else, right? What's that about? So, last and final question: what is one thing you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
One thing I know now that I wish I knew before becoming a mom.
And I know you only had a 15-day window to become a mom, so I'll cut you some slack on that one.
And one thing I know now, that I wish I had known, that it flies. It he was an infant the other day, and then now he's my height. I wish I had known to take more photos trust me, there are boxes and stacks full of things, but it seems like it's just, it goes so quick. I wish I would, when people go, oh, it's just going to fly by, you have no idea. Just you really go when did that happen? I wish I had more of a concept that was going to happen as fast as it did. I had no idea that was going to be, it feels so fleeting. It feels like, but he really it feels like just the other day I was like, oh, he's a little bit, and now he's like, yeah, Mom, I got the cable box. Just like, I'm like, when did this man enter my house? He's a little guy, and it's quick. It's really quick. I wish I had known that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's something on our we don't really, we see how fast a year went, right? And I've always hated parents that are like, you won't get it unless you're a parent. There are some things you truly don't understand until you're a parent and until you're at a certain point in parenting. And I think that's a really big one.
Yeah. And I think people, people are quick to judge that too. And people are like, no, I don't have to be a parent to understand this. You do. There's a part of your heart that opens up when you're a parent that you go, wow, I didn't even know that was there.
No.
And then everything when they're like, oh, I'm a pet owner, I understand. No, you don't. I have a dog too. It means nothing when the baby, you don't, it's a different part of your heart. You tap into something different entirely.
I love dogs, right? I think you love dogs. We all love dogs. We love cats. I love every animal under the sun. The more animals I can put on top of myself and snuggle, the happier I am. It doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
I was one of those people, I was like, well, I have a dog. Not even close.
Exactly. And that you can admit that though, because beforehand I'd be like, no, I want to be a mom. I understand what it's going to be like. But then when it happens to you, you go, oh, wow, this is it. And you have that moment of self-realization going, okay, this is mine. This is mine now.
Well, and it's constant fear and it's constant sadness and it's constant, I don't think I can ever express how much I love her.
No.
It's never enough in my mind. You can't even say it.
No, I know. And he'll walk past me now and I'll just be like, come here, and I'll cuddle on him because you can't, you just want to, I want to eat his little face up. And here's the thing too, when I'll say this in front of my friends, who'll be like, I'm going to eat the baby.
Sure.
And people go, you can't say no, but
of course you can. Funny enough, our doula who was on here, and I love her, she's amazing. That was one of the first things I said. I was like, oh, I just want to eat her. She goes, that's a really natural thing. She goes, some mothers, when they have a baby, they lick their child.
I want to nibble them. I wanted to be like,
I said to my kid today, I'm holding her. I said, I'll hold you forever if you let me. I said, I don't care if you ever walk. And everybody in the house was like, put her down. But I mean it. I mean it. If she wants to hold me forever, I'll hold her.
It does a thing to you. It really does, where you go, who is this person? Who have I become? When did this happen? And who's watching it? And then you go, I really don't care because this is me. So,
nothing else matters. That's so true. No, well, thank you a million times over for coming on here tonight. It was so nice to chat with you. Where can everybody follow you? Because you are this fabulous drag king and people should be watching what you're doing. It's a lot of fun to see.
I'm on Instagram at Makon, Makon Mayhem.
Awesome. And I'll tag you out on here too so people can find you.
Thank you.
But Lauren, thank you. And thank you guys for watching Shit Moms Won't Say. I have said it before, but I will say it again. I want this show to represent all moms, shapes, sizes, colors, everybody. Everybody should be on this show. It's a lot of fun. Please be sure to follow us on all kinds of social media. I will tag it out at the end of this. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night.